Hello Tamers, I'm Joe back ending. Well, it's already been post-release weekend, and now I finally got my hands on my 2 boxes of BT22 Cyber. And well, it goes without saying that this booster set is based around the iconic Digimon Cyber Sleuth games, with this taking its namesake from, well, pretty much a metaverse that most of your adventures will be taking place in the game, being Eden. And well, before we crack into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this around to help with the algorithm. And without further ado, let's crack into it. And starting off with the first box, opening up the release. And well, going over the set ready. It's going to be a booster set situation. So, of course, within the 2 boxes, the accessibility of getting playsets of most of your lower rarity is pretty much dependent on your pulls. Opening up into display. We are 3, 2, 1 box topper, with it being containing two promo versions of most cards from the set, with one actually being token. And opening it up and starting it off, and well, we end up paying the token for the deck, as we end up getting the familiar token from the pack. And that slight little detail of Giaomon doing a Ojo-sama laugh. And then following that up, we also get the promo version of the new BT22's Liberator Sangomon. And that's it for the promo pack. Now on to the main course. Well, starting at packs. Starting it from the right as usual. We end up getting the new Moonmon from the set, new Chaos Giaomon, and the very talked about new Rise Greymon from the set, new DM trait Denimon, and then we finally get a DM Monzaemon to go full circle with the Numemon, new Nume support, and the new CS Ramon, new Dark Tyranno X antibody, new Haguru for this Cyber Sleuth trait, and then CS Flame Skull Meramon, and we end up paying one of the new additions from the set being continuation of Atmon, and this being the Muzimon line. And then going into our rares, we end up paying the new Garurumon, who ends up pretty much being a ping pong up into Omnimon. And then from there, we end up paying the new Yugumon from the set, who is a decode body, and on Play 1 Digivolve, places a level 5 or lower Digimon that's Aqua or Sea Animal in trait from hand as the bomb source, and then it hits one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers from unsuspending until the end of their turn. With the alternate effect, when the effect adds to this Digimon's own source, it gets to bot deck a level 5 lower opposing Digimon, as well as counting rule trait of being aquatic. And continuing on, Raumon for Atmon, and we end up paying the new Kyoro Egg for Puppets, which ends up being a draw engine for the deck, as it ends up allowing you to draw in response to any of your tokens or other puppets being deleted, allowing you to be more careful, as you don't need to constantly attack in to get your draw. Then next we have a new version 2 Vademon, new Lekismon, new Kuomon with the CS trait, and then we get the field spell being Cyberspace Eden. And we're going to ping the new Liberator Puppets egg, which allows you to draw whenever effects place an Aqua CML trait from into its sources, allowing you to, well, refill your hand. And we also get the new new Arrow Digimon with the CS trait. And we get the, well, creepy professor himself, Akemi Suido. And sheer irony, we also get the Mother Eater, which is pretty much a archetype from this set, which, I mean, for all intents and purposes, functions similarly to D Reapers, but has a few more, well, gimmicks to its toolbox. And to go with the Malguru we got, you also get the new BT22 Wargrave. And to follow that up, for our first SR hit, we end up getting the new Tamer Yuuko Kamishiro, which ends up being the Tamer for, well, pretty much any Greymon deck, and specifically Giaomon, given that's her partner Digimon in the game. Which, she's a 4-cost, comes out to play from Security, and Sarmine grants you 1 memory as long as the opponent has a Digimon board. And with the main highlight being her alternates effect. Whenever she sees a attack target change, by suspending her down, you get to protect one of your Digimon from opponent's Digimon effects, and then for the turn, and then you get to, and if it's let me actually rephrase that, given how I jumbled that up. Whenever she sees a attack target change, you get to suspend her down, and then for the turn, your opponent's Digimon's effects can't affect one of your own Digimon that's Greymon in name or have the CH trait, while also granting that Digimon plus the 1000 DP. Yeah, that was quite the word salad. With this technically being, all intents and purposes, a progress in the face of attack target changing. Excuse me. And then as for the inherit effect text, this ends up, well, alluding to an event from that, as for the all turns inherit she has, whenever attack targets change, if the stack that she is under is an Eater Eve, you get to grant one of your Digimon plus 1000 DP for the turn. With this pretty much representing, alluding to a Eater Eve from the set, as it gets to evolve over her, and is one of the, well, tangents for the Eater deck. And continuing on. And we got the regular version of the BT22 Songo, and the new egg for Atmon being Tapmon, and you get this heartwarming art of everyone's favorite Wanyamon from Cyber Sleuth peaked. And well, this ends up being the go-to egg for the Cyber Sleuth archetype deck, since you get to play around with the nature of the deck's gimmick, since whenever the stack sees in effect placing a CS trait from Digimon's CS trait into its sources, it gets to Digivolve into a CS trait for reduced cost of 1. This pretty much functioning, well, similar to how Sunmon worked back during Alma Coliseum, though a lot more limited. Now that's, well, archetypal. And then we get the new CS Devimon, a new CS Trait Repamon, CS Gargomon Gold, a CS Gargomon. Yep, accidentally took card away. And then we get the new Black Agu X, new CS Trait Terrymon, which ends up being, oh, the Tamer cheat for the deck. And then the new Agumon from the set to help with the new Omnimon strategy. Then from there, we end up paying a new retrain of Lordknightmon, and the art recounting the iconic scene from the game, with Examon coming out into the real world, and Lordknightmon being, well, audience to it. And from there, we end up getting our next SR hit with another Road Knight, being the new Leopardmon Ace retrain. Being able to, well, 7 cost, or Digivolve for 4 over level 5 green, or alternatively for 3 cost over level 5 CS Trait. Blast Digivolves, and then has the on play 1 Digivolving effect. Allows you to play out a 15,000 DP or lower Digimon from hand without paying the cost. And then all level 3 or higher Digimon on board gain blocker until the end of the opponent's turn. And then it has the also cheeky effect of the all turns. Once per turn, whenever it sees one of your other Digimon in the battlefield, you get to gain 2 memory. And well, since people have been questioning if this is good in Royal Knights, that actually ends up working pretty well, as the all turns effect does in fact work well in conjunction with, well, Yggdrasil scooping, since as long as you have another Digimon on board, well, another Royal Knights on board, you'll see that and be able to gain you back to memory in response. Working similar to how BT13 Magmon works. Well, continuing on with the right side. New Wizen Giaomon, Rise Gray, Aqua, Dark Tyranno X, and then Effectmon for Appmon, and then we end up paying the new Kurisarimon retrain, being the newer Tamer cheat for the deck. Well, for the Diaboromon deck, that is. Chaos Gamma, and then we get the infamous rocker himself, Jimmy Ken, from the Cyber Sleuth games, being one of the iconic characters that you tend to battle in there. Arrow Vidra again, CS Spellmon, and then we end up paying Ryugumon, and we end up going for another Azar hit in the form of the new Alphamon, being 12 cost hard play, 4 costs to Digivolve generically over level 5 black or yellow, or alternatively, you can go over a level 5 CS trait for a cost of 3, and while you're sitting at 3 of your security, can Digivolve over Kyoko Kuremi for a cost of 5 instead. With this tech, with that effect and lineup pretty much being a nod to events from Cyber Sleuth. And well, that actually reminds me, since I actually oversaw one other thing, is that same sort of detail also applies to Lordknightmon, but for another tamer from the set. That being Rie Kishibe, and also evolves over her for the same cost. Going over the new Alphamon's effect, being a reboot and blocker body, and on play when Digivolve and when attacking, with no once return clause, you get to hit one of your opponent's Digimon with minus 5,000 DP for the turn, and then all turns when this Digimon suspends, if you have Kyoko in its source, or if this Digimon has a stack that has 2 or more of the same level cards in its sources, it gets a plus 2000 DP buff until the end of opponent's turn, and then unsuspends. With this, definitely playing into a more toolboxy and, well, the pseudo same gimmick as the old Galaxy engine, having same old sources in the stack. And that's it for that. Now continuing on with us not having gone over a alter yet. And well, we end up paying the more generic form of, well, one of the higher forms of eaters, that being the eater human form from the games. And then from there, Dreamon for Atmon, new CS Vija, new CS Togemon, Tap, Mera, Data, and we end up hitting, well, one of the more unique cards from the set for Liberator being, well, the unique emblem cards. With this being Meow's unique emblem, Pisidia Lagoon, which for the most part, they all tend to run the same idea and formula as they all allow you to play either Sango, well, the partner Digimon, or the tamer from hand, paying cost, effectively paying 3 for them to come out. And then during your turn, whenever the respective tamer gets suspended, you get to trigger the delay and allow one of your Digimon of the archetypal trait to be able to digivolve up into the archetype or the Liberator trait at the reduced cost of 3, which plays well when you're able to chain your tamer effects correctly. And speaking of which, following that up, we also get the new BT22 Chaperone, who in all honesty is pretty good support on top of the X9 support that we got earlier. Since this Chaperone can effectively warp into it by having an Iris on board, you get to place a Shushu from trash as the bomb source of a Shumon for you to straight up digivolve into the Chaperone for the regular evolution cost, with it granting normal Chaperone protection. And from there, you also get the new BT22 Gabumon, which ends up being the searcher for the deck. And then that we get the Stonksman himself, that being Platinum Numemon, given his not infamy, but more so notoriety in the Cyber Sleuth games, as he ends up being, your XP increase Digimon if you have them on board. And going over the effect, since I probably have an idea how they'll do it. 9 cost, 4 to digivolve generically over level 5 Black Yellow, or alternatively off a level 5 CS trait. And on play, on digivolve, when the opposing Digimon gets hit with minus 8000 DP, likely in reference to, his special move. And then for the main effect, that likely, emulates his iconic status in the game. That being, during your turn, whenever your opponent's Digimon becomes deleted, one of your other Digimon with the CS trait may digivolve into a CS trait Digimon from hand, obeying the cost. With the effect definitely emulating the increased XP gain in the game. And from that, and Seek of the Devil, as we end up paying our first alt art from the set. And grabbing out a foil, sleeve, as we get the alt art version of Rie Kishibe, who is a passive memory gain for 3 cost. And at the end of turn, by dealing one of your other Digimon or Tamers with the Knightmon text, or with the CS trait, you get to allow her to Digivolve up into Lordknightmon at a reduced cost of 3. Which, in all honesty, is an effect that definitely harkens back to her own role in Cyber Sleuth. And continuing on from there, with one alt art hit, with one of 2 alt art hits done, we continue on, and we end up hitting MCmon for Atmon, with this being Mucimon's recolor, as well as being, the start of a very particular gag in response to recolors in Atmon in the anime. And then from there, Cyber Sleuth, CS, Bloomeramon, Gyaro, and then Rekomon for Atmon, Cyberspace Ethan, and we get the new Shumon for the puppet deck. That allows you to grant blocker Monza again, Akemi Suedo, and we also get Yuuko's brother, Yugo Kamishiro, with him being a more generic CS support. And then from there, new CS Boltmon. And then from there, we get the new BT22 Yao Qinglong, who pretty much functions like the BT20 Shoto, as he pretty much allows you to return herself to the bottom of the deck to play out another Yao. And then if you don't have a Digimon board, allows you to chill out Songo from trash without paying cost. And then for the Ultra's effect, whenever she sees an effect add sources to your Aqua or Sea animal trait, Digimon, you get to spend her down for draw 1. And then from there, and getting, as already harkened back to already through polls, we also get the new iteration of Lunamon, who ends up being a searcher, being able to add, by any of her respective trait of Nightclaw, and then any Lightfang or Galaxy trait from among them. And in addition, being able to, instead of gaining memory, you have to place the top Lightfang or Nightclaw trait Digimon on top of the stack for a draw 1 instead. And that's it for that one. Now let's continue on. And ironically enough, another Moon, Songo, Music of the Heart being the option for the Mucimon deck, new CS trait Kiranmon, new CS Kuwagamon, Lekismon, Rao, Mother Eater, Media, and, since it was previously brought up, you also get Eater Eve here, being able to Digivolve off of Yuuko. And then from there, you also get the new Giaomon from the set, depicting, the showdown between Yuuko and Lordknightmon, with this guy being her partner. Definitely potential with this card. Digivolves 5 generically off of level 5 red or black, or alternatively 4 cost over a Greymon in name, or CS trait level 5. Has raid and reboot, pretty much with raid definitely working in favor of Yuuko's ability. And on Digivolve, you got to unsuspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then this Digimon may attack, pretty much allowing you to set up a raid target, equally good raid target to set up. In all turns, whenever it sees a attack target change, it gets to gain piercing and extra 5,000 DP for the turn, with the rule text being also counted as having Greymon And following that up, pure irony, we end up seeing Lordknightmon again. And from there, get the new Shushumon, which I'd say can be a tech include. New Giaomon, new Liberator Giaomon, I mean. And the new CS Giaomon. And then we get the searcher equivalent for eaters, that being the eater species form. The very coded cuttlefish, for lack of a better term. With this being able to have more than 4 copies included in a deck, with this definitely, well, being the equivalent fodder as searcher for Mother D Reaper. Being able to be a inherent in raising to reduce play costs of any subsequent eaters on board. Then Pyoyo again, and we get the new CS Sumemon. Has another draw engine. Fade, new CS Infirmon, and we get the very edgy looking Melturno X antibody from the set. Skullmirror again, and speaking of Diaboromon, we end up hitting the new CS Diaboromon from the set, being Arata. Yeah, Arata's partner, as already stated in the game's history. And well, with this new Diaborom, 12 to hard play for Digivolve generically for level 5 black, or alternatively for 3 costs over a Infirmon or a level 5 CS trait. Has the Alliance, and on attack and when Digivolving, allows you to play out a Diabora token without paying the cost, thus creating a Alliance partner before you declare attack. And then alterns whenever it sees every Digimon with the unidentified trait being played, and it gets to delete opposing Digimon with the lowest play cost, which even in the CS deck can work given that the token you spawn out is also the unidentified trait. And then from there, we end up getting the main man himself for the Yuusimon line, being Yuusimon himself, which, just like Giaomon, is able to play out his respective partner when you link with him. Well, link into him. And continuing on from there, Gold Gardro, Wizengamma, Pete, Devi, Gargo, Repa, Eater Human form, and then we get a new card in the form of Kurumi Detective Agency. This being, well, the searching option for the deck, as well as being the main HQ for the protagonist for the most part, as an employee of the Detective Agency. Then from there, a new Marine Bullmon, who also has the same requirements as the new Chaperomon. Since as long as you have a Yao in hand, a Yao on board, you have to place the shell as the bottom source of any of your Sango, to then ignore Digivolution and evolve into it, with it also being a decode body. And then continuing on, you also get Gold Nume. And then we have the new iteration of V himself, being Vmon, being the newer CS trait Vmon for the Digimon deck. And sheer irony, our next SR hit being the all-new All-Force Digimon Ace. 7 to hard play for to Digivolve generically over level 5 blue, or can Digivolve for 3 costs over level 5 CS trait. last Digivolve, and then on play 1 Digivolve, you have to activate one of the effects below, with one effect being return opposing Digimon the lowest level to bot deck, or you get to play out a cost 4 or less blue tamer from hand without paying cost. Excuse me again. With both effects pretty much being, well, tied to its two identities, being a Royal Knight, or pretty much being the partner for Rena. Pretty much playing into the All Force deck, and then has one attacking effect to allow it to unsuspend once per turn. With the scene here definitely being from the time you end up recruiting All Force Vidra. And continuing on, and might as well do it just because. Moving right over there, and explain myself what the flows are. Moving faster this time. Dark Hero X, Show, Kurisari, EMC, Rekko, Okua, Lekis, and we are paying Orissa's unique emblem, being unique emblem Fable Waltz. Well, as I already said how this works, on playing, well, for its main effect, either play a Shu or Orissa per hand without paying the cost, and then whenever it sees, well, whenever it's on board and it sees a Orissa suspend, delay, and allow one of your puppet traits to digivolve up into Puppet or Liberator trait at a reduced cost of 3. With this, definitely seeing some value when you pair it with the promo Orissa, effectively then makes this a net positive of 3 memory, as you pretty much then get to cheat out a Shu in addition to cheating out promo Orissa. From there, a Guru, and then we get a new DM trait Ace, being Raidenmon Ace for version 5 DM. And then next up, we have the lab overseer herself, Mirai Mikagura, as a new iteration, being 3 cost, and Sarmaine gain, well, by returning her to bot deck, allows you to play out a cost 4 higher Mirai, playing into the, well, Mostimon deck, or allows you to play out a level 4 higher, a cost 4 higher, Tamer with the CS trait from hand without paying cost. And then further on play, allows you to trash a Holy Beast, Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel, or CS trait from hand for draw 2. Thus making her useful for Moste or for the CS deck. And to follow that up, we end up getting the new BT22 Orissa, who pretty much follows the same light as the new BT22 Yao. With the alternate effect, whenever she sees one of your tokens or puppet trait Digimon play out, you get to draw 1. Definitely being a good resource for the puppet trait deck to refill the hand. And down to the last few packs on the right. And let's speed things up. Realm, Sango, Kara, Dream, Effect, Toge, Music of the Heart, new DM Vegemon, Cressamon, Black Aku X, and the regular art for Rie Kishibe. And following that up, for another rare hit, we end up paying the evolution of the Musimon, from Mediamon, being Entermon. And down to the last 2 on the right. Blumera, Vade, Pioyo, Kyaro, Rise Gray, Tap, Quagga, Terrier, Marine Bull, Kurami Detective Agency, Lunamon, and for our next SR hit, we end up getting one of the highlights and new recent additions from the Liberator line, as this is Giaomon, and pretty much going full circle with the shoe aspect of the Shumon line, all being, well, still incorporating the fairy tale aspect, with Giaomon pretty much being one of the starts of the new trend for Liberators going forward, being that each Liberator deck, for the most part, will be getting a level 7 Digimon as their higher power level, with Giaomon being a 14 hard play cost, Digivolves generically for 4 cost off of level 6 yellow, or alternatively, while you have Inursa on board, gets to Digivolve over Chipero for a cost of 6. Has Overclock Puppet, and then on Digivolve, you get to play out a 4 cost, a level 4 or lower puppet trait from hand, paying the cost, then hits one of your opponent's Digimon with minus 3000 DP till the end of the opponent's turn. Well, independent of their turn, for each of your Digimon with the alternates effect. Whenever he sees any of your other Digimon being deleted, you get to trigger the when Digivolving effect again. Pretty much effectively, well, replacing any of the familiar tokens with bodies, with level 4 lower bodies that you can make use of. Though in my eyes, I sort of see Giaomon as a pseudo finisher for the deck, given that, again, the pairing of Kaguya and EX7 Syndrome is pretty hard to give up when you have them both established on board. Well, on to our final pack from the right. Rekko, Lekis, Dream, Kurisari, Akua, Effect, Sume, Bolt, Mother Eater, Media, and we end up paying Yuusimon Samer, being Torjiro Asuka. And then following that up, Lunamon to finish up the right side. Well, we have one last alt art slot to hit from this box. Let's see what we get going into the left. And going much more faster till we see anything new. This will probably be again towards the rares. As for the first new rare, we end up hitting the new CS trait Contoursmon, who can is 12 to hard play for 2 digital generically off a low 5 yellow, or goes off Digivolves from Kirinmon or CS trait for a cost of 3. And then whenever this card would be played, if there are 6 or fewer total cards in both player security, you get to reduce his hard play cost by 6. Having it, and is a blocker berry body, and on play 1 Digivolve, allows you to place a yellow card from hand as the top security, and all turns, whenever this Digimon suspends by trashing your top security, allows you to unsuspend, pretty much being a retrain of BT13 Contoursmon. And following that up, for another rare hit, we end up paying another side tangent of Eater, being Eater Adam, to go with the Eater Eve, being able to, 8 hard play, or can Digivolve on top of a Arata Sonata for a cost of 4, has Sec +1, and on play and on Digivolve, you get to delete one opposing Digimon play cost with a play cost of 7 or lower. Then if this Digimon has no sources, you get to place an Rod from hand or trash as its bomb source. And all turns, when this Digimon would leave the area, you're able to play out an errata from its sources. This pretty much, again, alluding to what happened with Arata, and which ends up being a similar case to what happened to Yuuko when it came to Eater Eve. Well, continuing on from there, as we finish up with this box and run through faster this time around. We have nothing new yet. And another hit of Wargrave. And we had the ultimate app fusion partner for the Musimon line, that being Fakemon, as one of the ultimate 4 alongside Karasmon. And continuing on. Swinging things along. Get to see Vivi again. And Platinum Nume again. And spinning up again. And we end up hitting the new iteration of Reina Shinomiya, who ends up being a memory serve for the deck. And on play allows you one of your Digimon Vidra name, get plus 3000 DP until the end of the opponent's turn. And one of your Digimon with the Vidra name gets to return this timer to hand. That Digimon gains jamming for the turn. Pretty much playing into the All Force, pretty much just being further support for the All Force Vidra deck by being able to grant that your All Force Vidra with jamming. And to follow that up, we end up hitting something new in the form of the new, with the DM trait iteration of Shin Monzaimon. And, well, 13 tower play, Digis for 5 generically over a level 5 or level 5 purple yellow, or off of 4 5 costs off of any DM trait. And then, whenever it sees any of your version 1 trait Digimon Digivolve into itself, you get to reduce the evolution cost by 2, being a Sec plus 1 body and armor purge. And on Digivolve when attacking, it's to trash this card's bottom face down sources to then place one opposing Digimon with as much or less DP as itself to the top of security. And continuing on from there, see what we end off this line with. And we get a new hit, that being the new iteration of Senjulmon from the set. Being able to overclock, and on play and on delete, on Digivolve, play out familiar token, and then has the alternates effect, whenever it sees any of your other Digimon being deleted, you're able to trigger her on her when Digivolving effect again. Thus putting a lot more flexibility in when you can bring out tokens, since it's not a once per turn clause for that one Digivolve on play, thus allowing you to get 2 tokens in that one turn, since you'll most definitely trigger the alterns immediately on that Evo turn with overclock. And then another Torjiro, and let's continue on. And again, moving forward, fake, and we end up getting something better, as we end up hitting one of the secrets from the set, that being Kyoko Kuremi herself, and the boss of the Kuremi Detective Agency. And well, she ends up being the memory serve for any deck, And then all turns, whenever any of your Digimon that's level 4 or higher with the CS trait being deleted, you can suspend your down to then return a CS trait Digimon from trash to hand. Which ends up, well, already being a nice nod to her connection to Alphamon. Then from there, during your turn, whenever whenever she suspends, if you don't have an Alphamon on board, this tamer gets to Digivolve into Alphamon at the reduced cost of 2. And that ends up being maybe another high hit. And let's see what we pretty much end off with our last 5 packs. Spinning through, as usual, towards the end. Malgaru, and Platinum Nume again. And then from there, I believe it's only just a couple SR hits. Here, yep, nearly spoiled myself. Rina Shinomiya again. And speak of little for an SR hit, we end up hitting the new iteration of Nokia Shiramine. Apologies for going hoarse there, and well, 5 card play, and is effectively a new tamer for Omnimon strategies. Since at the start of your turn is the memory setter, and then at the start of your main or on play, while you have one or fewer Digimon, you get to play out a Agu or a Gabumon hand without paying the cost, and an alternate effect to allow all of your Greymon or Omni names to get plus 1000 DP. And then from there, on to the last 3 packs for this box, I mean. Yep, it's stuck. And fast forwarding down, VV again, and Fakemon again. Down the last 2. We have our penultimate pack for this box. Fast forwarding, Shinmonzai and Eater Adam again. And now on to the final pack of the box. Let's see what we'll get. And we end up with Shinmonzai, and to round this off, we end up hitting the new SR from this set, well, the new iteration of Arasuna from the set. Being able to play himself out, and is a memory setter. And then during your opponent's turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon attacks, by setting down this tamer, you get to change the attack target to one of your Digimon with the unidentified or CS trait. While also granting, well, a Eater Adam, the Inherit, whenever one of your opponent's Digimon's attack, allows you to redirect into an unidentified trait or CS trait Digimon, which ends up being a further hinting on including Eater Adam into the Giaomon deck if need be. Though, again, that effect definitely leans more towards Eaters. And that's it for box 1. Let me clean up as we get to the next box. And going into the second box. And breaking the seal again. And definitely going a lot more faster, only stopping at anything that, well, obviously catching fancy, being our alternates. And any new SRs that we haven't hit yet. Oh, cracking this open. And taking everything out. You know, let's see what we have for our 2 box hoppers from this set. Oh, from this box. And that being pretty much the dual pairing of Cyber Sleuth being Haguru and Pal this time around. Well, let's start from the left this time. And pretty much speed run anything new. Same here. Torjiro and Luna. And speeding through. Gaio and SR hit in Arata this time. Continuing on. Pete. Diaboro. And Yao again. Yuuko and Rie. Rina and Mirai again. Mirai. Enter and Giaomon. Rie and rank pairing with Lordknightmon. And next up, Yusi and Syndrel. And just spelled myself. Puyoyo and Kentoris, and following that up with a new SR hit being the, well, the Red American Omnimon being red, white, and blue. You know, jokes aside, being 15 costs and 6 to digivolve directly over a level 6 red, blue, or alternatively for 5 costs over a level 6 CS trait. DNAs with a level 6 Giaomon name and level 6 Guru name is a blocker body and has 2 instances of decode, being able to decode into a red or black level 3 or a blue or yellow level 3. Thus allowing you to, in non-neon strategy, pretty much recur your Gabu and Agu from the stack. And then has the on-play one attacking with no ones per turn, allowing you to delete opposing Digimon with the lowest DP. And then, when digivolving, for every 2 same level sources in its stack, you get to return 1 opposing Digimon to bot deck, then allows this Digimon to attack. Which ends up pretty much playing into a more, being the muscle for the new on-one strategy with Nokia at its helm. And fast forwarding again. Diaboro, and we end up paying our other Liberator SR, that being the new evolution of Ryugamon, that being Arimon. Well, 14-hour play, and visuals before generically off of level 6 blue. And then, alternatively, just like with Nyabumon, as long as you have Yo on board, she gets to digivolve over a Marine Bull for a cost of 6. Is able to decode into a level 6 or lower Aqua Sea Animal trait. And then on digivolve, allows you to play one of each level, 3, 4, and 5 from her own sources. And that have Aqua or Samuel in any of their traits without paying the cost. And then on Digivolve and when attacking, once returned, placing one of your other Digimon as this Digimon's bottom source, you get to bot deck when opposing Digimon to the bot deck, and then allows herself to unsuspend. With this being more so a new high end for the Ryugumon deck and Aquatics. And continuing on from that point, and bad rip, we end up with our penultimate on the left, and I just spotted myself again. As we go faster here, to our Giro, and we end up hitting our S tip with a Alt Art Arata. And now for the final pack on the right and left. Spinning forward, Rissa, and Kentoris. Well, now to fill empty space as we pretty much talking over an overview from the set. Since for the most part, for me anyways, from this definitely grants new tools for existing decks that, for anyone who's followed progression from the set, pretty much are able to build upon your Liberator decks, that being Aquatics and Puppets, and also for anyone interested, adding, the new CS Diabora line to also support, obviously, Diabora. And then we land on Wargrey and Fake. Continuing on from there, with Puppets definitely being uber boosted at this point, being practically concurrently, back to pack, supported from EX9, and going into BT22. Entramon, and we end up hitting the new SR hit, that being the new Giaomon retrain from the set. 12 cost card play, Digivol generically for 4 off of a level 5 purple or blue, or Digivolves off of any Nightfang or Nightclaw and Lightfang, level 5 or a CS trait for a cost of 3, is Iceclad and Blocker, pretty good lineup for a defensive trick. And on Digivolve, if this Digimon stack has 2 or more same level, which definitely works within, which is a instant condition met within the Galaxy engine, trashes any 4 sources from your opponent's Digimon, then gets to bot deck and opposing Digimon with 1 or fewer sources. Has the end of turn effect to allow one of your Digimon to unsuspend. And given that it's Galaxy that we're talking about, this Diana is one that has Inherit, and would obviously pair well with the promo Apollo Ace that we got, as well being the second holder of the Olympus 12 trait as well, with her Inherit granting an end of turn, allow one of your Digimon to unsuspend. That's it from there. As we continue on, as attention from there, I ended up coming across a unique thought process given what avenues the dual-colored Diana line grants, since, again, the Galaxy engine is practically very versatile, and given that the new dual coloring of purple allows Galaxy to sneakily go into Virus Imperial now. We end up getting Nagaru, and SR hit with Nokia again. And continuing from there. Skipping over Vivi and Platinum Nume. Edratum, and oh, that's complete irony, as we end up hitting the other secret rare from the set, that being the, well, Sayo by herself. With the Sayo obviously being the Nightclaw variant of herself, being her standalone as the representative for Dusk and Dawn. Well, Sayo's 4-cost card play is a memory setter, and then whenever one of your Digimon with 2 or more same level cards in stack attacks by spending this timer, you get to allow it to digivolve into a Nightclaw, Lightfang, or Galaxy, or even CS trait from trash, with the digitalization cost reduced by 2. We saw here, obviously, given her involvement in the story for Cyber Sleuth. As well, if memory serves, being a cheeky side quest that pretty much involves her and Giaomon. And well, that pretty much makes both boxes even. About, though it's a SR alt plus secret rare versus an SR, a rare alt in secret. Oh, we got Rina and Shinmonzai here. Continuing on. As we go towards the end with Senjil and Torjiro. And down to last 4 from here, Malguru and Platinum Nume. That starts speeding things up towards the end. Senjil, and we're going to be paying our next Sergeant, that being the God app for Yuusimon, being Orunosmon, being 12 to hard play, digitals generically off of level 5, up for 4 off of any level 5, or generically off or any colored ultimate app Digimon. Being a app fusion of Entermon and Fakemon, and then being Alliance, as well as also having Link +1 like Giaomon, and on Digivolve when attacking, allows you to play the level 4 lower app from hand on paying cost, and all turns a Digimon played out gets to allow you to link with one Digimon from its own sources to one of your Digimon without paying the cost. Well, without paying the linking cost. And excuse me. And we come to our last 3 pack of the last 3 packs of the video. And awkward rip. And let's see if we get anything good out of it. Speed through. And if it seems like an SR, get Mirai again, and oh, we get the female protagonist herself, Ami Aiba. Well, even though we don't get Takumi here, that definitely makes sense given that Takumi was released earlier in the game's history. And nope, this time going over Ami herself. Starmain, she ends up being get into 1 memory while your opponent has a Digimon, and during your turn, When every Digimon evolves into a CS3 Digimon, if it has a source with same level, if it has sources with same levels as the Digimon you went into, get the suspender down, then allows that Digimon to be able to evolve up again into a CS trait while paying the cost, which ends up being a gimmick for CS trait to reflect the digivolving, raising gimmick of digivolving and de-digivolving in the game, pretty much akin to how Galaxy does it, though being more concerned about same level sources this time around. And on to our penultimate pack of the video. And let's see what we end up going to the finale of the video. VV again, and Fake. And now on to our final pack. And so let's see what we end up with. Shinmonzai and Eater Adam. That's it for box 2. Now on to the recap. And now for the recap. And well, closing out, about the start, both boxes were technically, well, definitely within the mid-roll, being one alt and one secret rare, which in this case ends up being well, both secret rares from the set. And after looking at the arts, apparently there's a little bit of connect here, as you can see. And well, for the most part, overall, it's definitely a lot of CS related stuff, granted. To also go for that 1-for-1, we also hit one of each Liberator level 7 as well. With the card pull again being another BT-ism. So, of course, some of your between the two boxes, you may be able to land a few full playsets of certain cards. And then again, definitely based on what you pull to be able to build from. Which, from looks of what I've gotten, definitely leaning towards, closer towards a little bit Eater or for CS trait for the most part. Since again, you have a bit of flexibility within CS archetype, given how wide range, again, from this box there is. But overall, this definitely also brings in new support for existing decks by giving them some new tools to play with. And well, that's pretty much been my look at BT22 Cyber Eden for Digimon TCG. Nope. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to continue following along as we go into the BT22 format. And this is CyberJoe signing off.